Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wiki Reading. Today I'll be reading about Khnum. Khnum, also romanticized as Khnemu, was one of the earliest known Egyptian deities in Upper Egypt, originally associated with the Nile cataract. He held the responsibility of regulating the annual inundation of the river emanating from the caverns of Hapi, the deity embodying the flood. Since the annual flooding of the Nile brought with it silt and clay, and its water brought life to its surroundings, he eventually became known as the creator of human bodies and the life force, Ka. Using a potter's wheel and clay, he fashioned these entities and placed them within their mother's wombs. Often his creative endeavors were overseen by another god. He was later described as having molded the other deities and was revered as the creator of the animal kingdom. Banebdjet was the equivalent god in Lower Egypt. Worship of Khnum spanned from the first dynasty and persisted even into the Greco-Roman period, when rule by native dynasties had ended. Initially, his primary cult center was at Herwer in Middle Egypt, while his presence on the island of Elephantine dates back to the early dynastic period. It wasn't until the New Kingdom that he ascended to become the principal deity of the island, acquiring the title as the overseer of the first cataract of the Nile River. At Elephantine, Khnum formed a divine triad alongside the goddesses Satis and Animotica. His religious significance also extended to Esna, located south of Thebes. Khnum's primary function in the inception of human beings was typically portrayed with the horns of a ram, one of the sacred animals worshipped in ancient Egypt, representing aspects such as fertility, rebirth, regeneration, and resurrection. He was originally illustrated with horizontally spiraled horns, based on the ancient Egyptian corkscrew short-horned sheep, an extinct subspecies of the Barbary sheep. But his representation later evolved to feature the downturned horns of Ammon and the New Kingdom, based on the extinct sheep species Ophis platytra paleoegypticus. Khnum's imagery also includes the crocodile head, denoting his dominion over the Nile. He can additionally be found wearing the Atef crown, adorned with two feathers, or the white crown of Upper Egypt. The hieroglyphic symbol, often appearing in Khnum's name, is derived from the word humt, signifying well or spring. His name can also be connected to a Semitic root meaning sheep. Alternatively, the formation of the name can be interpreted as the beloved divine being. Khnum is also often described with the term Hapi, meaning the coming of the Nile. Additionally, he is called Khnum Ra, representing his role in the Nile cataract as the soul of the sun god Ra. Khnum's positions and powers are described through various titles such as the Creator God, Potter God, Lord of Life, Lord of the Field, Lord of Esna, the Good Protector, and the Lord of the Crocodiles. Over time, the Egyptian Khnum was later created to mean shape or build, akin to Khnum's divine powers in creation. His significance also led to early theophoric names of him for children, such as Khnum Khufui. Khnum is my protector. The full name of Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The worship of Khnum centered on two principal riverside sites, Elephantine and Esna, which were regarded as sacred sites. At Elephantine, he was worshipped alongside Satis and Animotica, while at Esna he was worshipped alongside Menhit, Nebtu, Neith, and Heka. Banebdjet was the equivalent god in Lower Egypt. Khnum has also been related to the deity Min. At the Temple of Elephantine and the Temple of Esna, ancient rituals and festivals would take place. Among these was a fertility rite, exclusively participated in by women seeking to conceive, with male priests disallowed. Held late in the evening at the Temple of Esna, the ceremony featured women presenting a potter's wheel and offering chants before a concealed statue in honor of Khnum. The installation of the potter's wheel culminated in a celebrated with a feast, occurring on the first day of the month of Paramhat. The original cult center of Khnum was situated in the town of Elephantine, with the temple dating back to the Middle Kingdom era. Khnum, along with his consort Satis and daughter Animotica, were all documented at Elephantine by the 11th dynasty. During the New Kingdom period, leaders expanded existing temples and erected additional structures on the island of Elephantine. Notable additions included the temples of Khnum and Satis, overseen by Hatshepsut and Thutmose III, along with a way station for the festival bark, dedicated to Khnum. Subsequent Ptolemaic and Roman rulers also imposed their own embellishments later on. Rams revered by Khnum have been unearthed on the Elephantine Island, mummified, embellished with golden headgear, and placed in stone coffins. There is also evidence discovered of tensions between the staff at the Temple of Elephantine and a nearby Jewish temple, arising from a desire of the Elephantine staff to enlarge the temple, causing detriment to the Jewish community. Remnants from the 13th dynasty, such as limestone fragments, provide evidence of architectural features, including an entrance, an ornamented room featuring ceremonial depictions, and a sacred boat shrine. Portions of the Greco-Roman Temple of Khnum are believed to have originated from the Middle Kingdom Temple of Setet. Opposite Elephantine, on the east bank at Aswan, Khnum, Satis, and Anukat are shown on a chapel wall dating to the Ptolemaic Kingdom. Presently, one of the few remaining sections of the Temple of Khnum is a grand monumental entrance. In Esna, a temple was dedicated to Khnum, Neith, and Heka, among other deities. Although construction of this temple commenced during the Ptolemaic era, the majority of its surviving sections were erected during Roman times. The temple rested in a field which Khnum is regarded as the lord of, and was responsible for maintaining the land's fertility, ensuring the continuation of life. The Temple of Esna emphasizes his role as a divine potter through various hymns that attribute the creation of deities, mankind, plants, and animals to him. The North Temple's wall features depictions of the favor shown by Roman rulers, showcasing offerings made by emperors and their encounters with deities. Within the temple, Khnum is occasionally depicted with the head of a crocodile. His primary consorts are Nebtui and Menhit, while Heka is recognized as his eldest son and successor. Khnum is sometimes referred to as the father of fathers, and Neith as the mother of mothers. They later become the parents of Ra, who is also referred to as Khnum-Re. The completion of hieroglyphic embellishments in Egyptian temples culminated within the Temple of Esna. Esna-A, built in the Ptolemaic era, later gained modern renown as the first ancient Egyptian structure to formally record a connection between the zodiac and the two decan lists. Presently, much of the site lies in ruins, as many blocks have been reported to build a canal. The remnants of the temple lie largely obscured beneath modern residential areas. Khnum is commonly depicted seated beside a potter's wheel, with a formed entity standing upon it, symbolizing his act of creation. Khnum is often portrayed alongside the frog-headed fertility goddess Heket, who can be seen assisting him at the potter wheel, as seen in the wall relief of the Mammoth of Nectanebo II. Khnum and Heket can also be found together molding the god Ihi at the Dendra temple. Statues of Khnum, Satis, and Anuket, along with Isis and Horus, adorn the temple of Beit el-Wali of Ramses II. In Karnak's great hypostyle wall, Khnum stands beside Pharaoh Ramses II and Horus, employing a net to ensnare waterfowl. This is also similarly depicted on the inner north wall of the temple at Esna, with Khnum alongside the Roman Emperor Commodus. Throughout ancient texts, Khnum is depicted as a creator. In the pyramid texts of the later Old Kingdom, he crafts ferry boats and a ladder ascending to heaven. The 5th dynasty portrays him specifically as the creator of the vessels used by the sun god Ra, known as the solar bark. In the Middle Kingdom, Khnum is credited as the creator of humans in spell 214 of the Coffin text. Khnum is mentioned as an inactive god during a famine in the Ipuwer papyrus of the 12th dynasty, where it is said he does not fashion because of the state of the land. In the papyrus de O'Brienny of Seti II in the New Kingdom, or Tale of Two Brothers, Khnum is responsible for creating Bata's wife. Khnum's role extends to the Book of the Dead, as part of the formula spell to prevent the heart of the deceased from opposing them in the necropolis. Khnum features prominently in an inscription in relief of the Ptolemaic kingdom known as the Famine Stela, located on the island of Sehel, south of Elephantine. The stela recounts a 7-year period of drought and famine during the reign of King Djoser of the Third Dynasty. According to the inscription, Djoser receives a version of Khnum who promises to end the famine. In response, the king issues a decree of 1/10 of all revenue to be allocated to the temple of Khnum as an offering of gratitude. Above the stela, King Djoser is depicted offering tributes to Khnum, as well as the goddesses Satis and Anukat. Khnum is also portrayed in the stela of Seti I. The king is depicted presenting an offering to Khnum, bowing while holding 2 new pots. Khnum holds a vas scepter in his left hand and an ankh in his right, adorned in a kilt and an atef crown topped with a solar disk. Both figures stand on a moss sickle and are equally sculpted. Above Khnum it states, "Beloved of Khnum, Lord of the West," and the stela of Tutankhamun from Sin el Kabed. Tutankhamun is depicted incensing the god Khnum. Khnum is seated on a throne dressed in a kilt, chest piece, and wide collar, holding an ankh and a wasp scepter. Khnum, revered at Kuma, holds an epithet indicative of his protective role over riverine and desert passes, symbolized by opposing boughs at the entrances. The text above Khnum designates him as the Lord of the Cataract. Khnum is a recurring figure in numerous of the hymns within the temples at Elephantine and Esna, showcasing his significance. Distinctively, the morning hymn to Khnum aligns him with the gods Amun and Shu, venerating him as the Lord of Life and attributing him the ability to shape the bodies of humans. Another revered hymn, the Great Hymn to Khnum, celebrates him as the creator of all men, gods, and animals, as well as the provider of minerals and nurturer of plant life. This hymn delves into Khnum's intricate craftsmanship in forming body parts and assigning their functions. Additionally, Khnum is also acknowledged for creating a diversity of languages across regions, contrasting with Egyptian speech. In this hymn, Khnum is further depicted as the Ba'oth, many different deities scattered throughout Egypt, merging with the gods and representing the embodiment of their souls. And the second great hymn to Khnum, the hymn depicts Khnum Ra, sailing across the sky to establish pillars, with goddesses in the south, north, and east, and possibly the west. Further linking Khnum to the divine narrative, he is mentioned in the hymn to Hapi, connecting him to the Nile god. The god Khnum plays a significant role in the birth narratives of Egyptian leaders, often serving to legitimize their rule. In the Old Kingdom, King Sahur of the 5th dynasty can be seen sucking on the goddess Nekbet at his birth, with Khnum presiding beside them. In the Middle Kingdom, the Westcar Papyrus recounts the birth of 3 triplet kings by the woman, Redadet. Khnum and the other deities disguise themselves to assist with the birth, and Khnum infuses health into the life of the bodies of the future kings, receiving a sack of barley as payment. Queen Hatshepsut of the New Kingdom was similarly illustrated being created on Khnum's potter wheel in the depiction of her divine birth at the temple of Deir el-Bahari, bestowing life, health, and strength and all gifts upon her. It is also carved that Khnum made her appearance above the gods. Additionally, reliefs in the Luxor temple illustrate Khnum crafting the body and Ka of King Amenhotep III in a comparable manner. In popular culture, Khnum is featured in Hirohiko Araki's 1989 manga and its subsequent TV adaptation, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, as the stand of Oingo, the first of the Oingo Boingo brothers, giving him the ability to alter his appearance in reference to Khnum's feat of creating humans.